Welcome everyone. We've got Jordan Harry here, who works with the Variable Ball. If you've not seen him before, he's also a very interesting person. We're going to get into himself now and a bit of his background and stuff. I'd like you to introduce yourself first, Jordan. Then I'm going to go in and ask you a few questions, if that's all right.
Awesome. So I'm a proud Bitcoin maxi, and it's a pleasure to be.
And with that,
What
see
a
you
terrible
later.
one-liner.
Yeah. No, I'm
Damn
joking.
it, I had one opportunity, Jordan. So we'll try again. We'll try again. Sorry to all the Bitcoin maxis I've just offended, should I put
Yeah,
it?
and me. I apologise.
So, hey everyone, I'm John Harry. As you can tell by my accent, I'm British, which hopefully a lot of you are, and it's refreshing because I'm surrounded by Americans, which isn't a bad thing. But I'm speaking to my people, and so I'm a country boy. Um, for myself, I'll jump straight in and say my first time I heard about Bitcoin. I was laying in bed, and my friends were all like, "Ah, it's gone to 20K." So we're talking about 2017, all that. But other than that, I took no other interest. And instead, I went and started a speed reading and memory training company. So very geeky. And if you look at me, um, I'm mixed race. I was 18 at the time. I'd like to think I had a good sense of humor. I didn't look like any of the speed reading or memory trainers back then. Right. Now I've got tattoos. I definitely don't. And so for me, I realized, especially in business, that would be one of the things that would make me stand out because I looked like the people I was teaching, e.g., young people, students. So I went through this self-discovery of learning anything faster throughout uni. It came to I gave a TED talk on how to read a book a day, which there were about 8 people in the room, including my ex-girlfriend, so we'll say 7. And within a matter of a couple of years, it reached over 2 million viewers, and we're now kissing 3 million. And the cliche that it changed my life, it's not an understatement. Okay, it wasn't overnight, and floods of money didn't come to my door because of it, but the doors it opened, speaking around the world, teaching over 70,000 people, from 140 beautiful countries, not all of them that I visited in person. And the reason why I tell you this, and hopefully it gives you context of who I am, but it also ties into the bull. And if you're not familiar with the Bearable Bull, he's an anonymous YouTuber who talks about XRP, this pixie dust. So imagine trying to tell your friends and family about him. And the pandemic came about. And here I am traveling the world, teach people how to learn anything faster. And I had to stop. And I'm so thankful I did because financially I wasn't literate. And we were talking offline about, your financial literacy and mine. And I didn't have a financial plan. And me and a group of guys all got together. Ironically, one of those guys was the Bitcoin guy back in 2017. And he's like, this XRP. And he showed me all the documents. And it's true. The XRP community, we are the smartest, annoyingly. And I'm not afraid to say that we do the hardest work in this space. And as a result, I ignored it for weeks because it was boring, it was technical. To put it simply, I feared it. And the issue is when you fear something, you avoid it. And you feel like you don't belong there. And then I remembered my exact same feeling with speed reading and memory training. I don't belong here in this space. And I thought, hold on a second. Yes, I do. And that was before, of course, I met people like yourself and et cetera, et cetera. After one weekend of reading what Ripple were aiming to do with XRP, and I guess I was lucky because this was the standard for me, I was like, this is it. And I've never been much of a quote unquote gambler nor investor, but I took a gamble because my friend said, put £100 in, Jordan, I'll give you £100 back.
Sounds like a good gamble.
It sounds like a great Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah.
But it was more on the condition that if I don't make my money back, he'll give me £100. Um, so thank you, Jordan, his name is, for doing that. And to finish the story, he then put me onto the ball. Um, I hated his voice, like everyone did at the beginning. And so did my girlfriend, and she probably still does. However, I went from being a fanboy to a virtual mentor, you know, just showing him love, like, oh, bro, you changed my life. And I say it not in a antagonizing way, just because you can imagine he gets that in the thousands every single day. And somehow, some way, very similar to the discussion about Raoul Paul, he opened my message, and it was like a Spider-Man meme moment. I don't know if you've seen the Spider-Man meme where they're both pointing at each other.
Yeah,
Because I was like, bro, you changed my life. And he was like, no, you changed my life. Because 5 years ago, and I do apologize, everyone. I'm going on a little monologue, but it's a cool story.
this is what we want.
Good. So 5 years ago, the Bearable Ball was homeless, surrounded by not the best people, single mother home, and he doesn't mind me sharing this. And he was in six figures of it. And in America, because in the UK that's impossible, because the bank will reject you for a credit increase over £500. But in America, I don't know if everyone understands the system over there, but just your student loan debt alone will put you in that six-figure debt. Here in the UK, we know our student loan will probably never pay back.
Yeah.
And it's not the same type of debt. So for him, he was starting from sub-zero. And he would go to the library to learn, and he came across my TED Talk. Before it had 2 million views, it probably had a couple thousand, on how to read a book a day. And so he says, I taught him how to read, but still I can't comprehend. And he started to read about crypto. He started to read about online marketing and building an online business. And almost symbiotically, our 5 year peaks, our 5 year journeys kind of met at this perfect intersection where he had grown to, of course, the status and investment knowledge that he knows today. And I had, of course, come across his path with my kind of awakening. And so I went from being a fanboy to virtual mentor to a brother, to where I started consulting, supporting him on the side. And finally, and I do promise everyone this is the final chapter of my life story, I said to Bull, look, I'm happy to quit my job. By the way, everyone, this is a voice. I'd been talking to him, yes, for a year. I still don't know his name, what he looked like, all of that. I still don't. And I was leaving a stable job, paying me in the UK £2,300, which is pretty good, like monthly salary. During the pandemic, so job security wasn't really a thing. And I had all that. And I said to the Bull, look, I'll work for you for free. What a gamble that was. And I built a website for him, not expecting payment. And he was so blown away. He wanted to pay me for the website. And hopefully this is a lesson for everyone listening, which is I saw the bigger play and I pitched him a business. And I pretty much told him, look, this is what we could do. And I remember the call I had with him. I was like, so did you watch the presentation? And he's like, no, I'll watch it now. And so I was like, sat here like, on this call, he put me on mute and I was like, future will be told to me in And yeah, fast forward to today. We've been working together, for about 8 months, which feels like a lifetime. And I'll finish there because I feel there's plenty more questions to come. So that's all right.
That's so exciting. Like, what a story that is. I can't believe that, in a way, what are the chances that he's going to have watched your TED Talk and then you're going to have messaged him and he's going to also recognise that it was you who did the TED Talk when the TED Talk wasn't big? I can't really... Okay, right. Let's get into this. That's blown my mind a little bit. So, from yourself, what I'd like to know before we get any further is, you talked about your job a little bit then. What were you doing before this? Like, where are you from in the UK? What happened, like, before this crypto stuff?
Yeah, so happy to share. So Study Fast is my online business now, teaching speed reading and memory training. So that's still there. It's collecting cobwebs. But the beauty of it is there's still free content and there's still the paid courses. So I'm still teaching people around the world. But it's evergreen. I've recorded it once with a little less hairs on my chin. And now it stands the test of time. So that, for me, if we talk about legacy, that feels great. The job I was getting £2,300 from, that was an online marketing company
Hmm.
called School of Marketing. Arguably, and I'm biased in saying this, it's one of the most important skills next to sales. Um, because as we were talking offline again, building a community, storytelling, selling yourself. I mean, we're always doing that in one way, shape, or form. And so for a year, I really got to master online marketing because we were teaching people how to do it. So I had to be good myself. Um, and I'm a country boy, and I'm based in the Cambridge area. So old people and dogs, a slower pace of life is my day to day.
Cool. Cool. That's awesome. So this is going a bit like, because you've just talked about, I had a question about variable ball and how you met. So we've already gone through that. So
Tick.
this is going for a little bit of a spin then. So you're a very positive person, and like when I hear or have tuned into your live streams, it kind of goes like down the route of like a little bit like manifestation sort of thing. I just want to know where you are like spiritually. How did you find that sort of side of work, and how can you relate that to both your personal life and business life?
Awesome. So, to put it simply, if I was to kind of package myself in identity, I'm a practicing stoic. And so, what that allows me to do is come to terms with the fact that life is suffering, as dark as that sounds, that at any moment I could leave this earth in terms of dying. And that when you come to terms with those two things, that life is suffering and at any moment I can leave this earth, life gets real fun once you get over those two things. Because it gives you a number of mechanisms to cope with life's challenges. Because life is tough, right? Everyone's fighting their own battles. Regardless how big and small they are, they're all valid. And so for me, a few things that I practice, and hopefully they benefit everyone. And funny enough, my phone just did it. I have an app called WeCroak, non-affiliate, completely free. It's called WeCroak, croak like the frog. And what it does reminds me 5 times a day at random points that I'm going to die. And for many people listening, I'm like, well, this just got really dark really quick. And the power behind it, and I think some of you have already started, like the cogs are turning, is because we get caught up in our day to day. And we can miss our train and we're like, oh, God, the universe, oh, everything's out to get me. Nothing goes right. And then when you think that, hold on a second, I've got my limbs, I'm above this earth, I can, I can breathe, I can think, I have a degree of freedom. Wow, life isn't that bad after all. And so it's this thing that kind of brings you, it kind of resets you. And that's what's the beautiful thing about technology now, is we can use it to kind of facilitate our lives. And then beyond that, it gives you a stoic quote. So you can swipe it and it gives you a nice little quote to put things in perspective. So number one is I contemplate my death at least 5 times a day. And there's been multiple studies that have shown that actually acknowledging your mortality, and that's what I feel the pandemic has done for many people. Some people, of course, have shot off positively. As we know, other people, of course, have crumbled under that fear of morality. It allows you to live a happier life because you have to ask yourselves better questions. And one of those questions, and this is the second thing I do, is if I was to leave this earth right now, let that guide what I think, say, and do. So if I'm doing something I don't enjoy, of course, this is all contextual, I'm like, yo, if I died right now, I'm not going to be proud doing this. And you find out really quickly that your thoughts become feelings, your feelings become actions, and whether you believe in the universe or affirmations, personally I do, I'm a big believer in vibration. Psychologically, it changes what you focus on. So if you start to ask yourself better questions, like, okay, if I was dying about now, would I be proud? And it's like, no, okay, well, what would I be proud of doing? Okay, I want to learn more about crypto. And of course, as a byproduct, somewhere down the line, financially, you become more successful. So those are two things that practicing stoicism has helped me. One, come to terms with the fear of dying, and two, come up with mechanisms to live a more fulfilled, happier lifestyle that I'm proud of.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and I think that well, people will know who followed my story, but like I around the same sort of time that I started properly investing into crypto with like a lot of my savings. Like
Mm.
I just before that I had like a very very low period, probably my lowest ever, um, and started meditating. And then since I started meditating, my whole life changed, and I always thought to myself, like I still haven't quite worked it out whether that's because of, and I don't know what I believe still, whether it's because of there's a higher power, a vibration, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the very bottom line, and I actually had this conversation with my girlfriend the other day. We when it snowed here. It snowed here the other day, and I just said, like, there's so many stresses going on in the world all the time. And one of the things that meditation does for me is like tries to bring my mind back to being present, and I think that's one of the most important things that you can really do. So we were just standing there, like in a field, and all the snow's coming down. And I was like, don't think about anything else for a minute, and just let's just be present in this moment. And I think that like when your mind starts running away onto different stresses, all this what you got to do tomorrow, what you got to do next week, what's going on in your bank balance, what's going on here and there, it's just important to be able to bring that back in and just understand that like it is a beautiful life, but you've just got to make it that way in your own head, and it's your decision. So
Thanks for sharing that, by the way.
that's all right. Thank you. Thank you for your story. You're inspiring me like really, like loads. I didn't know that you were like this at all. And so from that, what is your daily routine?
Cool, cool, cool. I would love to give everyone beautiful Tim Ferriss-esque morning routine. But hey, it's perspective that hey, you don't need to do all this. You know, become successful. Okay, what's your definition of success? So, I wake up at 10. Okay, now everyone's gonna be like, oh, but I go to bed at 4. Okay, so let me off first of all. So I wake up at 10. I open up the house. I'm a good house husband. So pick up the dog poo. It's not glamorous. Doesn't matter whether you got 5, 6, 7 figures, 8 figures. I'll still be picking up the dog poo. Pick up the dog poo. Clean the kitchen if it needs it. And then it's into, and I think you can relate on this as well, but work. I say it like that because research, speaking, even this is work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. You know, I get to jump on crypto Twitter, and I know it sounds weird, but that's made me a fortune, both in relationships, financially, in my personal life as well. So I go for my newsfeed, get up to date. What's the latest in crypto land? Pretty much every day there's a yes and a fuck Gary Gensler. So still waiting for that settlement. And then from there, I know between 10 and about 6 p.m., it's crypto activities.
Mm-hmm.
As vague as that sounds, because Bull will admit this, I run the business. Meaning, you know, I built the website, I built our university, I sort our consulting out, our Discord. I'm always creating new things in the background. Merchandise is on the way. For me, every day is different, which helps my way of working. Then at 6 p.m., I love mixed martial arts. Again, talking about stoicism, the idea that I dedicate myself to something which I hope I never have to use. That is almost the complete reverse of what we do in crypto. We spend all our time and money, hoping one day we can take it out. I spend all my time and, money learning a skill which I hope I never have to use. But in the case that I do, I'll be over-prepared for that. And the beautiful thing about martial arts is it reminds me again of my morality. I go there, I lend my body to another human, and I either tap out or I get knocked out. And thankfully that hasn't happened as of yet. And I acknowledge my own morality. I acknowledge my ego has to be left at the door, especially as a man. You know, we have this toxic masculinity. Martial arts beats it out of you. And so I then come back with a couple more bruises. So I go at 6, I get back around 10, a little bit of travel time there. Don't worry, everyone, I'm not training for 4 hours. I'm not that hardcore. And then from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., I'm back doing crypto activities. You know, whether that's buying, I was going to say selling, but that rarely happens.
Yeah, what's
Buying.
that?
And then, yeah, working more with the ball on calls with him and other fantastic influencers in our space. So if I was to give anyone a nice little tidbit, I do try and spend 2 minutes, as you talked about, being still. So do I do meditation? I guess so. But I just put my clock on for 2 minutes, shut my eyes, and I just sit still. And if anyone says, oh, you know, I don't have 2 minutes, well, you know, you brush your teeth. So, you know, you find time to do that. You can find 2 minutes to read, to meditate, to whatever you want to start a new habit in. Start with something called tiny habits, because our brain has this resistance to starting an activity. And studies have shown that if you can get over that 2 minute mark, you'll get into this flow state where you always put off doing a piece of work. You finally sit down and do it, and you're like, oh, it wasn't that hard. And you get into the swing of things. But it's those first 2 minutes which is the hardest, because our brain doesn't like discomfort. It wants to do something pleasurable. So it wants to go check your Twitter notifications. It wants to go create a TikTok video or a YouTube video. Why? Because it's fun. And so we're always negotiating with our conscience. So I always try and give myself a little reward, because that's how habits are built, to ensure these habits are protected, because one day those habits will protect me.
Okay. Again, another exciting routine. I saw that it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, isn't it, that you do? Is that right? Yeah.
I do that a lot purely because I'm a striker.
Mm-hmm.
So karate, kickboxing is my thing. But it all goes to poo-poo if I go to the ground.
Yeah.
So I spend most of my time, learning how to get back to my feet. So that means I have to be on my bum, on my back, in horrible positions, because when I get back to my feet, then it's fun time.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's something that I've always wanted to do, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done a lot of boxing in my time as well. Spent a lot of time in the gym, but never. I'm also not very good on the ground. I don't think I'd be very good in that situation. So I'm going to try and take this a little bit towards crypto now. Thank you so much for your background, and everything we talked about so far is like, it seems like everyone who I actually speak to in the crypto space is quite similar in the way that we all think, and that actually blows my mind a little bit in terms of like spirituality, mindset, those sorts of things is quite amazing, really. So I'm just going to start with this one. It's a bit out there, a bit of a weird question, but what's the biggest challenge you've faced since getting into cryptocurrency?
This is awesome, man, because I don't get to do this often, and I always find these interviews as an opportunity for me to reflect. So the biggest challenge, now, I'll tell you, I'm going to make sure I answer the question correctly. Is it now? What's the biggest challenge, or what has been?
What has been? Has there been like one big hurdle or an event or something specific, or?
The biggest challenge, and it comes straight to my mind, and although I don't really want to talk about it because it is, it's important that I do, because evidently my brain's brought it to the front of my mind for a reason. And I gave a university virtual talk on crypto and blockchain. And I gave it a couple months ago. So this is relevant. And I discussed about XDC's foundation and the grant program there. I talked about the XRP ledger and the foundation there, and how as an entrepreneur you can build on the XRP ledger and get funding and technical support. I then talked about Hedera Hashgraph and the foundation there. Again, how can entrepreneurs build? Then I explained what NFTs were, which was a mission. Then I briefly talked about the market and only talked about Ethereum, because I didn't want to talk about XRP because people haven't heard about XRP stereotypically. So I explained to them, look, you need to buy low, but of course, if you pulled the chart back here, you would have felt massive risk. So it's easy when you look right of the chart, but we can't see right of the chart. I explained to them the market cap. I explained where we're going on the macro level. So the reason why I'm giving the breakdown is because afterwards, the person who brought me in, who was an old lecturer friend of mine, was like, Jordan, awesome talk. The chat was blowing up. A lot of people wanted financial advice, which I'm happy to give, but I knew it was university and I couldn't be like, oh yeah, buy this. This is where you go to buy it. This is the healthy tax avoidance techniques, which of course we can openly talk about in this space. And he messaged me afterwards saying how wonderful it was. A couple of weeks later, I got thankfully, the first and only negative email I've ever had towards one of my talks. Granted, it was my first ever crypto talk to an education system, and we hear the stereotype that the education system's broken. They're trying to indoctrinate us to be slaves to the system, blah 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 blah. As much as I'm the internal optimist, so I didn't really want to believe that, right? Because here I am, they're bringing in a crypto investor, and I get to talk to master students around about it. People are wrong. Things are changing. Long story short, the email then said, I was ashamed of you, Jordan. You should question your entrepreneurial values. You shield projects for the whole thing. You gave financial advice, which you were in no position to do so. You get the gist of the email. I had to apologize. I had to tell my whole class that I disassociated from all your comments. And the key thing which made me realize why he had sent this 360 email from how lovely it was to how disgraceful it was, he finished his email saying, I even had to apologize to my manager because she was on the call. And so this talked to me, which was, he was on board, the room was on board, but management wasn't. And management obviously slapped him on the wrist afterwards for whatever reason, saying, what the hell was that? These are entrepreneurs, and here's this kid telling them, like, okay, you got your business, but you can make money over here. Hey, you're studying, but pretty much you should be studying this. And so he's obviously had to, bow down.
Yeah.
And I sent him quite a fired up message saying, like, bro, you've lit a fire underneath me. Like, thank you for that. And I cried, and I'm not ashamed to tell you why I cried. And I cried because I thought I was sharing this information to make sure many people had this opportunity before it's too late. I feel without asking you, you're on the same journey. That we know there's this small window, whether it's XRP, whether it's altcoins in general, there will be a time when we can't tell people to buy XRP. I won't be telling anyone to buy it over $2. And I see it going 4 figures, personally. So that's going to be a long time where I won't be talking about it in terms of buying. What the whole experience taught me, given that talk, was that we say the education system's broken, that they're holding people back, they're enslaving them, into a false sense of security to get a 9-to-5 job. And it's different when you actually see it and feel it. That I think you believe me, even though we've only met each other for a short period of time, I didn't even get a chance to talk about XRP. I didn't tell them where to buy, how to sell, staking, loans, DeFi. There was so much more. And yet I mainly spent most of my time explaining how the system all works and why they need to be investing, right? But what I realized was the fear. I can't speak on behalf of the manager because I don't know who she really is and why she felt the need to dox me. But what it is clear is that when you start telling people and challenging their long-held beliefs, they feel insecure. They feel insecure. As you've spoken to many people from a place of abundance, there's no hesitation in finding out something new or actually challenging something that you thought you knew. And so here I come, this young guy again, this young mixed race tattooed guy who's definitely younger than the manager, but also the same age as the students, telling them, hey, look, I've been where you were. I was doing good, but I realized financially, because money is important, it either catapults you out of a hole or it can put you deeper into it, in my opinion. And then once you've made your money, it no longer becomes that priority. And so here I am telling them, like, hey, look, you're studying, but you really need to spend more time over here. and for them to stifle their own decision making. I cried because I really realized, not that I can't save everyone, but really how there will be so many people left behind. So many, so many. And for many, not out of choice. And I look back to my years at university, right? My 3 years. No one came in to talk about crypto. No one told me about investing. It came from an anonymous character on YouTube who changed my life. Didn't come from, and I loved my teachers, I loved education. Now I still spend most of my time trying to teach people how to learn faster. But when we look at, sadly, the people we're surrounded by, trying to break them out of, and they always say the red pill, for them to take the red pill, for them to look around and be like, look, if you're not investing, you're actually betting on fiat. You're not investing in anything. You're saying your pounds, your dollars are going to appreciate over time, beyond all the other trends that are occurring. And so, as unashamedly I admit, I cried because I realized I wasn't doing enough. And like I said, it let fire under my bum. I sent him where to buy XRP. I told him, I sent a video saying, look, thank you for like lighting up underneath me. PS, this is where you can buy XRP. Of course, I sent him to BitTrue. Because only at the end of the day, kill him with kindness. Like, he may just have an epiphany.
Yeah.
And him buying XRP, well, look, I hope he can be my liquidity exit when I sell 5% at $10. That he'll be buying my XRP at $10. So yeah, that was that experience. That was the most challenging for me, which was really admitting that I can't merge two of my worlds together, which is the education system, which really made me who I am today and fell in love with learning, and this new system that we are all moving towards, whether we like it or not.
Okay, and so this is a little bit away from crypto again, even though I do want to push us like a lot more down the crypto space in a second. And it's a later question.
I'm drinking out of a Princess Disney mug, so
like that. I've got
financial advice from a guy with a Princess Disney mug.
I got this. Someone made this for me. It's a Crypto Insight UK mug, and it's got my.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh yes, I like that.
Do I make up for it now? I need one of those mugs.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. We're setting up a store. It's not quite made yet. You talked about your merch. It is set up, but I've not quite like really promoted it at all yet. Actually, I've got my Crypto Insight UK hoodie on as well.
Breaking news.
So yeah, the question I wanted to ask you in regards to kind of related to what you've just said, how in this space, I think it's important to understand that there's a lot of negativity. How do you what mechanisms do you have to overcome that, both as a creator? So for me personally, I get a lot on my videos, and I do obviously notice them, and it like when you're having like a bad day or whatever, like they're the things that you focus on. And then but also for the general investor into any cryptocurrency specifically, because you know how it is, if you go into any space, there's always people who are skeptics, and if you're talking about crypto and let's say the market's on a red day, then people are laughing at you, etc. What mechanisms or processes do you use to overcome like that mentality?
So we'll start with negative comments, because whether you are a content creator with 500 people following you, or whether you're a content creator with 500,000 people following you, or whether you are in this space to learn, you will come across negative comments, right? So how do you manage it? Well, number one, the mute and block button. I love it. I love it. I have no hesitation blocking anyone, right? Now, for many people, are like, oh, you're silencing. Yeah, if you're coming onto my page and you're not adding value, like, I love it. Like, for example, people like Kevin Cage, he shilled Casper to me constantly in my comments. Right? I'm not blocking him because he's bringing value to me, right? But if you're coming to my page and you're shilling something with the intention to pump your own business, then yeah, boom, you're getting blocked. And so for me, I have no hesitation blocking people or muting people. And I think people need to feel comfortable with that. And okay, that person may be like, oh, so-and-so blocked me. you have your own reason. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Okay. So whenever I see negative comments, I don't engage, because for me that's mental capacity where that could be going towards someone who loves me or I love them. So I don't. You'll never see me argue, e- even though I can defend myself. I don't. Why? Because I'm one. It's very slim chance I'll change that person's thinking, and two, like I said, I'd much rather give that time to someone else who's like, "Oh, how do I use for their finance? Hey, I want to talk to that person. I want to talk to you." And so for me, that's one way. Two, strangely enough, I don't get many, but I think you can agree, you get that one negative one, and it can sit and it can like resonate with you for quite some time, more than the tens, if not hundreds, of positive messages you get. And so we need to make sure we make positivity louder. Humans are psyche. We are wired where our emotions, especially the negative emotions, burn deeper imprints into our memory. Right. So once we know how we're wired, that actually we are more triggered by negative experiences. I always say, and I'll ask you a question: how does it feel when you let someone in front of you before you go through a door?
I don't know. I, I don't know. I always do that. It's just a. I don't know if there's a feeling. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Kind of feel like that you respect them. Maybe, yeah.
And you feel good about letting someone in front of you before you go through a door. I always say that doing nice things is the most selfish thing you can do.
Yeah,
But truth be told, I do a lot of things for free, for favors, to help people. An element of it, yes, is because I really want to help that person. But at the end of the day, it makes me feel good. We're on this call now. You're not feeling bad, hopefully, bro. Hopefully you're feeling good, and you're feeling good. Why? Because hopefully at least one person will watch this and be like, "Wow, I learned something." So for me, that's two ways I do it. I protect my inner matrix. I just don't let negativity get in. I make positivity louder, so those haters will realize he's not going to nibble. He has too much positivity in his comments. They're going to all slaughter me if I dare say anything. And then the other thing is, I purposely try to do favors. I purposely try to help people on a daily basis. So whenever you are feeling down, and this I feel is a pretty good prescription for most people. If it's the market's down, if it's a negative comment from a loved one or a random person, because they both sting, maybe not the same, is find out how you can serve. For me, and most probably you, we do that through passing on knowledge. For you at home, it may be simply leaving a positive comment on someone else's page, right? Because you know how it feels, so why not reciprocate? And when that person likes your comment, you feel good. So remember, like, this is something we can hack our brain. And look, if you're going to say, but Jordan, this is so dark and cynical, hey, I'm more than happy to be the evil mastermind who goes around doing nice things for people to make himself feel good. Because believe it or not, we all do that. We don't do anything that we don't enjoy. And if you are, I encourage you to stop doing that thing you don't enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a very positive message to spread, like that it makes you feel good to be positive, so why not be positive? That's definitely, but also, like, kind of touching on what you just said at the end there, is that a lot of people do kind of get stuck in a negative mindset as well. Like you think, oh, my, like we talked about at the start, my day's not going well, so like I've got that frustration, and then you say that, and then it frustrates someone else, and that's a negative loop. But right, let's get into some crypto quickly.
Cool.
So we're going to do a bit of speculation to start with, and just want quick answers if you can. It's going to be a hard one. Where do you personally think we top out on this bull run? Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, three figures or ranges or whatever you want to, however you want to answer that.
Brilliant. So to put it quite simply, Ethereum, I have no predictions, purely because no one in my network um, has said much about Ethereum's price or predictions.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I can say, it's going to be here. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going anywhere. Um, I do believe it will topple Bitcoin, whether that's in market cap, whether it's price per token. I can't speculate on that per se, but I do feel that the media attention, that the way people think of crypto and Bitcoin, it will soon move to Ethereum and crypto, and hopefully one day it will move further down the line. Bitcoin, I really do love the 2017 model that's going around on crypto Twitter right now.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's meant to be 78K if it follows the model. Assumably, that's not going to happen. But I know at the end of the year, we're meant to see 120K Bitcoin, according to the technical analysis. I would like to see that happen. I have no issue with Bitcoin. I have issue with Bitcoin. I have issues with maxis, full stop. Bitcoin maxis are the worst, from my personal experience. So Bitcoin 120 end of year. I would love to see that happen. How long do I see the bull run running for? September 2022.
Wow.
I'll tell you why.
Oh, wow.
And again, this isn't from my own mind where I've sat in my room and come up with this stuff. It's just speaking to people like Kevin Cage, King Solomon, The Variable Bull, Crypto Airy, Martin Volt, bringing these people together. We have a mastermind call every month. So your favorite influencers, Coach JV, we all sit in the room virtually and we talk about things like this, and we all bring our different insights. And the consensus is, especially XRP and your favorite utility coins, Algo, Hedera, Proppy, XLM, the list goes on, Cardano. We'll see a speculative bull run. We'll see a natural retracement. I say natural. Bull fears a 70% retracement when no one can give you time. But then they see a utility bull run that will take us towards September. So, Q4 next year. I'm, like I said, the eternal optimist. So I like that narrative. But the most important thing I can tell everyone is prepare for if the market goes up. Prepare if it goes sideways. Prepare if it goes down. And so those are my speculations on the market. Market cap wise, we were at 400 billion last year for the entire crypto space.
It's crazy, isn't it, to think about?
I know. And okay, cool. All-time high price, 3 trillion. We're now sitting at 2.5 at the time of this recording. And I think Kevin Cage had a model which was we could see a 3x by January. Now, of course, as that time frame gets smaller, that means we've got 1 month. Crazier things have happened in crypto. But I think the main takeaway message is this time next year, we're not going to be at 3 trillion. This time next year, I'm very confident we'll see double figures. And then my final speculation is at some point in time, I don't think we'll have 10%. I think we'll have no more than 10 protocols that are successful. So, and this comes again, not from myself, it comes from the CEO of FTX, Sam, can't remember his last name.
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean, but I can't remember. They've just secured loads of funding as well, haven't they? That's why he's in my mind. I can picture him. Got curly black hair.
Yeah, the black hair.
Yeah.
David Schwartz and him sat down at Ripple Swell, and there was a clip circulating on crypto Twitter.
Yeah.
They never show us Swell, but they show us the little clips. I got denied from going. I don't blame them because I would have leaked everything. And during this interview with the CEO of FTX, the reason why I'm talking about this guy, Sam, is, again, financial success in this game is a key metric. He has a higher net worth than Jamie Dimon. I believe it's something in the 20 billions. It's definitely in double figures, billions. And he's at the age of mid-20s. So he's a very successful crypto investor. And when he sat in rooms with David Schwartz and they speak the same language, he came out and said 4. And then he went on and said he can't see double figure protocol surviving. But he said 4. I'd like to say that people don't just slip up like that.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you a question. What 4 crypto projects do you think will survive and flourish?
Whoa, that's a very difficult question. It's a very difficult question. There's got to be like one smart contract, if not two smart contract platforms, or protocols. So got to say Ethereum for first mover advantage, providing they can sort out their gas, which I think they will do. Like personally, my projections on Ethereum is that we'll probably rally into ETH 2.0, and then when things start to get a bit unstable, like they start to like release some of the staking, some people might try and take profits, and we could see a correction there. But I do think it'll be around long term, unless something like Hedera comes through and absolutely smashes it out of the park. To be completely honest, so they're the two, and we could have two. That's why I was thinking we could have two smart contract protocols in there. There'll definitely be a payment protocol. My money's in XRP. I'm 98% exposed to it. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But there'll be and I think that'll be the rail that most things run on. Like I even think that there could be a way where this would kind of nullify Hedera in a way though, where like if Ethereum could run on the XRP ledger, then that would kind of make their scalability, speed, those sorts of things over to the brains of Ethereum. And then I can't really see. There's going to be a store. There's going to be a store of value of some sort. But we could, whether that will be Bitcoin again, that could run the XRP ledger, or a faster network, or if they have a decent layer 2 like scaling system for it, or some way. I think that there will be somewhere where people just try and like a gold of the future, because there's always going to be a need for something like that. But maybe gold stays. Maybe it does long term. But then, this is something I want to get onto in a bit as well. I think the crypto gaming NFTs are going to come through, and they're going to revolutionize everything. I think that they'll change the whole world. Like when people don't have to go outside as much, and they can just play games and get paid. Like if I could sit at home, back in the day, especially when I was 16, 17 years old, spending all my time after college on Call of Duty, and I can then use that to pay my rent, buy food, buy clothes, then I don't know, that's when the world's going to change really quickly. And so I think that there's definitely a world where a metaverse token or a play to earn token is like massively influential in the world of finance. So I think one of those could come through as well, but it's all up in the air there at the minute. Maybe Meta and DM like surely have got a shout in that, because they've got 3.5 billion users, or like if they can just move their attention onto using their platform, then I don't know, somewhere in and around there are the thoughts that I'd have with that. But I don't know, four's a really hard pick. But yeah, the reason that I personally am massively invested into XRP are because I obviously think that, just from technical analysis, that we're going to have a run towards the end of this cycle. If nothing else happens, we've seen it in the last two cycles when market cap starts to move away from Bitcoin. It has previously moved into XRP. It moves there for a short period of time. So if nothing else happens, like we get that run, in my opinion. And if everything else happens, then we get multiple runs, like one off the back of the other. We get adoption from many different places, institutions, countries, helps the whole financial system. I think it's in my opinion, it's always been a bit of a no-brainer. Like I started this cycle with like 40 different cryptos and have taken profits, completely 100% taken profits from them, and just cycled them into XRP. I've just got XRP now, and RFox, Red Fox, but I've just been swinging that really. I've swung from Blocktopia as a metaverse token.
I was about to buy some jobs. Is that what it's called?
I don't know jobs.
On Blocktopia.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Land that you can buy on Blocktopia.
Is it called? Okay, yeah. I know what you mean. I was looking. I had looked at them a little bit, but I'm basically just swinging the metaverse tokens off the back of the meta news from Facebook. That's what I've been doing recently. And then RFox have launched their first beta play to earn game today. So
awesome.
I ran on Blocktopia for a bit just from the charts, and then I cashed all of that out into RFox, which is obviously Red Fox. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I was going to just try and my plan was just to get it up to $10,000, and it's at like 7,000 or 8,000. So I didn't know what I was going to do with that. Now I haven't really made a plan from that. I've been talking about it on my YouTube, just been transparent with people. Then people have been trying to follow it anyway. So that's where I am with that. So I don't know. I went off on a bit of a tangent then. So
Yeah, I love that.
what?
But you see, it's conversations like that where someone listening right now is like, "Oh, Blocktopia, where for?" Right. So it's those little conversations where people get to listen in to the conversations we're having, the conversations I'm having with influencers who hopefully people will recognize, and I get to be like, "Hey, these are the conversations we're having, not behind closed doors, but that we all agree on, and this is what people need to hear. They need to hear about XRP at $1." And why you're 98% in it. And see, okay, he's got confidence, I've got confidence. And it's my biggest holding next to Hedera. I'm married to both of them.
So what are
I was
you
having,
for? What are you for?
oh, so I think about this constantly because I'm married to six. My
Okay.
portfolio, I've got six long-term holds. So I always hold 25% for life. Hopefully pass it down to generations, spend it, collateralize it. So for me, XRP, XLM,
Yeah.
they don't get love, bless them. They really don't. But it's hard to ignore, and it's going to be hard to ignore again when price appreciates. So yeah, XRP, XLM, Hedera Hashgraph. I could talk to you for hours about them. Why I'm so excited because NFT.com, 98% certain that will be built on Hedera because the CEO of NFT.com, Jordan Freed, part of the founding team of Hedera, and has constantly supported and continued to mention he will continue to build the ecosystem. That was his goal when he left. And he's just bought my HBAR wallet as well. So he's building out the ecosystem. So he has the best interests of Hedera, and he's doing so overseas. So Hedera will be the third and the fourth, which is going to be an unpopular opinion, but it's Algorand. I need to buy some more today, so it's not 3% of my portfolio anymore. Algorand, yeah. Why Michael Arrington? He put me on. Michael Arrington has a capital hedge fund called Arrington XRP Capital. I think.
Okay.
Or is it Capital?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, Michael Arrington, best friend with Brad Garlinghouse, big investor in Ripple. You may have seen a clip where he sent $50 million worth of XRP within a couple of seconds, paid a fraction, and that kind of got.
Oh, is that him?
That was him.
Yeah, I know who it is. Got big biceps.
That's right. Yeah. He's the fiance to Natalia, the CEO of Poppy.
Okay.
Real estate NFT project.
Oh, I did not know that, but okay.
Yeah. So when Michael Arrington talks, I listen. So when he announced he invested something like 5 million into the Algorand Foundation, which allows apps to build on Algorand, I was like, okay, I'm listening. And so I always watch what they do. And you follow the smart money.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be a thing. Maybe everyone's just got to swallow. Swallow? God, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, you follow the smart money, and Michael Arrington is definitely the smart money. So I put my pounds next to his dollars. So those are my four: XRP, XLM, HBAR, and Algo.
Yeah, okay. So no Ethereum, no Bitcoin, long term.
And I sound horrible saying it. I'm talking about four that will thrive. So they'll still be here. Like I said, Ethereum will still be here. And when I say, okay, does that mean they're going to be overtaken? There's so many different metrics, total value locked up, transactions in the year per second, da, 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 da. But what I'm saying is these four will be head and shoulders above others in terms of partnerships, in terms of value locked up, in terms of the problems they're solving in the world. And if you go through your checklist, price follows. Because we are here to make money, but ultimately these are the things I'm looking for. Hedera want to be a 100-year company. That for me is longevity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Awesome. So I feel like we are running we've ran quite long so far in this interview, but I've got a couple of questions. I'm going to miss out quite a lot here, but we can always touch on them another time. But in regards to CBDCs, when do you think we'll start to see any adoption of this, or some adoption of this. Do you have any views on that?
Awesome. Really excited to talk about this because something which I'm following closely, the Digital Pound Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So if no one knows, Digital Pound Foundation sits next to the Bank of England. Okay, so they are two different things. They're not commissioned or anything like that, but they are advisors to the central bank. Okay, so Bank of England speak regularly with the Digital Pound Foundation. The Digital Pound Foundation are made up of, I want to say 9 members. Don't quote me on that. Including things like Essentia,
Mm-hmm.
Electronium,
Mm-hmm.
Quant. I feel like someone from Barclays is on there, and of course, Ripple. The woman is called Susan. Her last name escapes me, but she's the
Friedman, I think.
oh, there you go, perfect. Head of policy.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, okay, well, what does that mean? Okay, so what that means is that Ripple have a say, and they are also listening to what the Central Bank of England, Bank of England, are doing and planning. Now, that doesn't mean that Ripple technology is going to be used. I'd love to give everyone hopium and say, yeah, you know, the XRP ledger is going to be used for this, and the side chains. We won't know until, of course, it's announced, and by then it could be too late. But the most important thing is Ripple are in these rooms. Ripple are talking to, maybe not Mr. Bailey himself, you know, the head of Bank of England, but they are talking to
Other people, yeah.
the policymakers, the movers and shakers. And I listened in on a webinar they had recently where they all introduced themselves. And during this webinar, the Bank of England, again, how much do we believe what they say, said that we'll see a CBDC in the UK the early part of this decade. So by 2025, they hope to have a CBDC. So in a sense, we've got 3 years, or they've got 3 years to figure out how it's going to be built, how it's going to be implemented, what does it look like and feel. They, at this moment, they love the idea that it's programmable. And we're going to hear this a lot. And this is why I'm a big believer in investing in the infrastructure. Because that's not only where we'll become wealthy, but we'll also be able to escape the fact that we may be sent money, whether it's universal credit, furlough payment, and it can expire.
Yeah.
And that concept may seem, Jordan, now you're talking hopium now you're talking sci-fi. It's going on in China. Like, if you Google CBDC in China, normal news channels are reporting how people are getting their salaries and they are limited on how much they can spend on food, how their social credit score is matched up, and if they're a bad citizen, how that programmable money can be impacted. Now, we're not going to go that far. I feel very confident about that. But look, we're getting told to stay home and you'll be paid furlough. I won't be surprised if that is how it will be tested, and they've already talked about that. And they hope that's not what happens, but if it is the case, the Bank of England did say they can see the benefits there.
Yeah, and like, I know that everyone puts like a big doom and gloom on things being on the blockchain, like having digital identity, like lack of anonymity, that sort of thing. But overall, like, I think it's going to solve a lot of problems. I think it's going to help us. I think that there are definitely negatives, but I think that if you look at it in the right way, then you can definitely take positives out of it. And if you're in the space early, like if you're watching this, you're in the space early enough to understand a way that you can make yourself, or at least, even if this is the first video you watch, you're putting yourself in a position where you can make yourself financially like more secure for the future by just understanding what the tech is.
Yep.
But like, even if you use like the eat out to help out thing that happened in the UK, imagine if we had like programmable money then, and they were like, look, if you go to this, like any of these restaurants, this money will work as a voucher, but if you don't, then it will disappear. That's basically like a way that they could program money. And there's obviously other ways, like if you're a student, you might get better loans or be able to take your overdraft or whatever. Just basically can program your money for each person is what we're basically talking about. There was yesterday, and this is probably going to catch you off guard a bit, I don't really want to do that, I just want to know your opinion on this. There was a 2% digital services tax in the UK, so 28th of November, applied to all crypto exchanges. It's been already on social media platforms, but it was applied to crypto exchanges yesterday. Do you think that that is going to affect us as end users, or do you think that will take the burden of that?
Bro, firstly, I've learned something new today, so thank you for sharing that with me. But it speaks to what I actually learned yesterday, which was old news, but new news. So the platform Flare Finance, which is a decentralized app, for anyone who's not familiar, it's been built on Flare Network, so two separate things. So things like Songbird, your Flare tokens, I really do encourage you that if you have got the airdrop coming to you, that you need to be learning how to use Flare Finance. And there's great resources. I mean, just type in it into YouTube, you'll find fantastic channels. And the reason why I bring that up is because Flare Finance is a DeFi protocol, right? So what that means is, okay, you escape the governance. But for you to have an on-ramp and off-ramp, you need KML and KYC. When you have that, you're then liable to, of course, letting HMRC know what you've been doing. So there's a company called Trustline, not the same Trustlines with the Sun wallet, the Exxon wallet, some people call it, but Trustline, it's a green logo, capital T, and they're building and integrating with the Flare network. And they have talked about on-ramps, off-ramps, Flare Finance, they've talked about credit cards, The long story short is we cannot escape paying these taxes. We can be smart. And what I mean by smart is not withdrawing 10K to your personal bank account and then you having to pay 40% capital gains tax and all this other tax, and you actually walk away with 5K. What I mean by being smart is things like taking a collateralized loan on Nexo, which is seen as a liability, so you pay zero tax on it. It could even bring down your profits if you have a business, and I encourage everyone listening to have a business. You will have so many more tax flexibility having a business and a personal account. So when you tell me about, this inevitable tax that exchanges have coming, and, exchanges, by the way, if the HMRC, I think it's actually FCA, Financial Conduct Authorities in the UK, if they come saying, look, we want Jordan Harry's records because he's a whale, because they'll never look into you if you're not a whale, right? Or whatever activity, the exchange will sell you out. You have to understand, I've spoken to exchange, especially in the UK, they owe us nothing. It's either their business or it's you. And you bet your bottom dollar and pound that they're going to send your ledger history to the FCA over them breaching the regulations. And so when we talk about the inevitable regulation that's coming, yes, right now we have this sweet spot. I'm sure if we have this interview next year, there'll be some more regulation. We just need to stay ahead of the curve, being like, okay, cool. What are we complying with? And what is legal for us to access? E.g., a collateralized loan on Nexo. That's legal and it protects your wealth. But I just want to tell everyone, we cannot escape paying taxes. And to finish on this, if you're paying taxes, you're doing something right in this space. Right? And if you're paying a lot of taxes, which again, we'll try and reduce, again, that's because you're making a lot of money. So,
yeah, exactly that. Right. So last few questions then. I've got like 2 questions that I want to just ask you, and then a quick speed round that I always do to finish off the interview. Thank you for your time, by the way. Let's just say, what are the best tips on where to find crypto information as a beginner, and who do you recommend as influencers that are good people to check out?
I always struggle with this because when we say beginners, and it's this kind of learning bias, like you and I are no longer beginners, and so it's hard to remember what it was like to learn and how we learn. So, if you ask me now, I can tell you all the people you need to know about Flare Finance, Olympus DAO, Hector DAO, Strongnut. But if I was a beginner again, and I guess, I'm looking back at my own experience, what would I do differently? One, I would speak to everyone that that you're looking into crypto. And the reason why is because you may just find out your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, best friend is in crypto, and ask them for their top 3 cryptos. Because when you start out, I wouldn't even listen to us
Yeah.
to, because we're going to tell you XRP, we're going to tell you HBAR, but then we live in our ecosystem and we know what we know.
Hmm.
And if you go off our confidence, or when the market goes down, we're fine. We know what we hold, but your confidence is dependent on maybe watching another one of our videos. You need to have your own confidence in what you hold. So one way is to start from scratch, speak to everyone that you're getting into crypto, put it out on social media, and say, hey, what's your top three? Then you'll have some sort of average. The top three, these appear. I say the best place to go is the website of those top three.
Hmm.
Everything you need to know about a crypto, it sounds common sense, but it's not common practice, is the white paper. It's
Yeah.
scary. You're going to have Google next to you, Googling every single word that you probably read. I'm joking, it's not that bad. It's boring, but that's the business plan. If the crypto doesn't have a white paper, run away, especially if you're beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can't find as much as you need on the website, again, run away if you're a beginner, because I'm telling you, if this is the first thing you're getting into and you can't find everything you need from the website, that's not a project I need you to get into as a beginner. And then the final thing is, I know it sounds weird, but go to crypto Twitter. Go onto Twitter, type in that crypto, follow the top accounts that tweet about that crypto. And like I say, look, I hope you don't invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum at these prices. Why? Because we're here to make money. And for you to 10x your investment, let's just say that's an arbitrary number, Bitcoin needs to go to $500,000 US. People don't quite understand that. People are like, oh, it's gone up 5,000 today. Yeah, that's 10%.
Yeah.
These are not the prices to get in. Could Bitcoin go to $500,000? Maybe. How long? No one can really tell you that, but I think we've got a better chance of doing 10x with something else. So my advice is stay away from the top two. Stay away from stable coins. Yeah, don't invest in a stable coin. If you don't know what a stable coin is, don't invest in Tether. Don't invest in USDC.
Yeah.
And that's purely because their prices, based on their smart contracts, they can't move up. So top 10 on CoinMarketCap will be a good place to start. We've eliminated 4 of those top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if USDC is in the top 10.
No, I don't know actually.
It is. It's number 8. So, oh my gosh. So I encourage you to look at Doge, Polkadot, XRP, Cardano, Solana. Yeah. Skip Doge.
There's a good mix in there. It's about, to be fair, it's a bit of you've got to understand it as well, though. Like, that's a lot to do with like emotions of the market. So that's quite. I think it is an important one to even look into, because we obviously need that as a society, because otherwise it wouldn't be there. So yeah, actually, I'll just finish on this quick speed round. Then I'm going to ask you like 10 questions, and I just want your first thing that comes into your head, and they're really easy ones. So we'll start with Pepsi or Coke.
Coke.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite sport?
They're loyal, unlike cats.
What dog do you have?
He is a standard poodle, although if you saw his little bum when he came in, he's huge.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got really long fur as well. Favorite sport?
Yeah, mixed martial arts. That kind of encompasses all of them. Some cheating, but yeah, mixed martial arts.
Do you have a lucky number?
483. That was my RuneScape number back in the day.
Yeah, I love that. So you'd be
483.
you'd be smashing the metaverse if that came out. Favorite hobby outside of what you've told us about?
Oh, damn it. I was going to say mixed martial arts, but well done, Jordan. That's what I've already told you about. Reading. Yeah, I didn't mention that. I love reading.
Cool. Favorite song?
Favorite song.
I see a lot of grime on your story and stuff.
Yeah, great observation. We're gonna say any song by the artist Gets or A2.
Nice. Favorite film?
It's between The Big Short
Great film, yeah.
and Tenet.
Oh yeah, okay. Another really good film. Very different though. Adventure or relaxation?
Adventure.
And do you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then it's
I'm
for
saying that because I'm scared they're listening.
maybe I am one. And yeah, absolute. Just to finish it off, and it's a really hard question to ask because no one ever has it when I ask them. But
Okay.
do you have a joke?
I do.
Okay.
I can give you
Yes.
some beautiful ones.
Go on then.
So last night I slept like a log. I woke up in a fireplace. There's more. There's more. I'll give you one more.
Go on then.
Two fonts, Times New Roman and Arial, walk into a bar. The barman says to Arial, "Sorry, I don't serve your type."
Oh no. Oh no, that's
Good
awful.
old font discrimination.
I'll finish one for you. Well, do I have one? What do you call someone who won't trump in public?
Who won't Trump? An anti-Trumper?
A private tutor.
Hey, I'm noting that one down.
Right, so that's a great way to finish this. Thank you very much, Jordan, for your time. It's been amazing. We've covered a lot. We've talked for a very long time. I hope there's a lot of valuable information for people in here, both within crypto and also within mindset. If you've got any questions for us, obviously put them in the comments below. I'll obviously tag Jordan in the videos that I post up. Is there anything you want to say just to sign out, brother?
Other than the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago and today. So, okay, you didn't get into crypto 10 years ago, 10 days ago, 10 months ago. Okay, you missed that pump. Best time to get in is today.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that doesn't necessarily just mean financially. It means get that knowledge base sorted. All right. Thank you very much. And hopefully see you soon.
Brilliant, bro. Well done for what you're doing, man.
Thank you.